All right, so you want to sound more like a native English speaker?
Yeah, you bet.
Well, you guys sent in tons of tips. 15 to be exact.
Wow.
So we're going to do a deep dive today on all these tips.
Sounds good.
Some of them are pretty standard, the usual advice. But some of them, I got to admit, I learned a thing or two getting ready for this deep dive.
Awesome.
Thinking in English, using word webs instead of translating in your head. Even like stealing pronunciation tricks from actors.
Oh, wow.
I know. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing all the different angles that you can come at this fluency thing from.
Yeah, it's not just about, grammar and vocabulary. It's like changing your habits, your mindset, even your environment.
Totally.
To make English like a natural part of your life.
I love it. Okay, so let's start with something that I personally struggle with.
Okay.
Thinking in English. Like, I get so stuck translating everything in my head. And it just like slows everything down.
It really does.
So how do you actually make that mental shift?
It's like you're building this new mental muscle, right?
Okay.
At first, you're going to catch yourself translating all the time. But instead of getting frustrated, use those moments to kind of like trigger, switch back into English mode.
Got it.
So like imagine you're describing your day to someone who only speaks English.
Okay, yeah.
What words would you use?
Okay, so it's more about catching myself and redirecting rather than just getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this word association thing?
Okay.
I've heard of that, but I don't really understand how it works.
So it's all about building connections within the English language itself.
Okay.
So like instead of translating the word apple into your native language, you're going to create a web of related English words.
Okay.
So fruit, red, sweet, pie, orchard.
I see.
Visualize it like a mind map with apple in the center, branching out to all these connected words.
Gotcha.
And this reinforces the concept in English.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to recall and use.
That's a much clearer explanation than I've ever heard before.
Oh, good.
So it's not just about knowing the word, it's understanding its relationship.
Exactly.
To all these other words.
Yeah.
Speaking of connections, let's talk about actually speaking English.
Okay.
How can someone get practice if they're not, constantly surrounded by native speakers?
You can still train your pronunciation and fluency even without a conversation partner.
Okay.
Voice recording apps are amazing for this.
Really?
Yeah. Record yourself reading like an article. Or summarizing a podcast episode.
Okay.
And then listen back.
Yeah.
And it'll help you pinpoint those areas
I see.
where you stumble. Or maybe you sound a little unnatural.
That's like having your own personal pronunciation coach.
Exactly.
So let's be honest, talking to yourself can feel kind of awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Any tips for like making solo practice less cringy?
2 things.
Okay.
First, don't underestimate the power of like talking to the mirror.
Oh, interesting.
It forces you to make eye contact, use facial expressions, just like you would in a real conversation.
Makes sense.
And second, create low-pressure speaking challenges for yourself.
Okay, I like that.
Describe your daily routine. Explain a favorite movie plot.
Yeah.
Or even give a mini presentation.
Oh, wow.
On a topic you love.
So like small challenges to build confidence.
Exactly.
What about getting real-world interaction? I've heard about those language exchange apps.
Yeah.
But I'm always a bit intimidated by like talking to strangers.
I get it.
Yeah.
But platforms like Hello Talk and Tandem can feel less intimidating than, say, walking up to a random person in a cafe.
Right.
Because you're both in the same boat.
Yeah.
Learning each other's languages.
Yeah, I see.
You can start with like text chat and then graduate to voice or video calls when you're more comfortable.
So it's like a built-in support system.
Exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about your environment.
Okay.
Because I always struggle with like being motivated and creating that consistent learning routine.
I hear you. Yeah.
It's tough.
So imagine building like an English-speaking bubble around yourself.
Okay.
Think beyond just textbooks.
Right.
Switch your phone and social media to English.
Oh, that's a good one.
Label everyday objects in your house.
Okay.
With their English names.
Wow.
So your fridge becomes a refrigerator.
I see.
Or a lampshade.
So it's about making English unavoidable.
Exactly.
I never thought about labeling my furniture, but that's actually brilliant.
Oh, good.
What about entertainment?
Oh, yeah. Movies and TV shows are fantastic. But it's about being actively engaged.
Right. Not just passively watching.
Exactly. So start with subtitles.
Okay.
But challenge yourself to gradually turn them off.
Yeah.
As your comprehension improves.
I like that.
Lighthearted sitcoms like Friends or The Office.
Oh, yeah. Those are classics.
They're great for picking up everyday language and slang.
Okay, so Netflix and chill officially counts as studying now.
I mean, why not?
I like where this is going, but I do struggle with, like, picking up those nuances in pronunciation just from watching.
Yeah.
So any advice on how to go beyond just understanding the words?
Okay, try the pause and repeat technique.
Okay.
So choose a scene with clear dialogue, pause it after a sentence or phrase, and then mimic the actor's pronunciation as closely as you can.
Wow.
Pay attention to their intonation, their rhythm, even their facial expressions.
So it's like a pronunciation boot camp.
Exactly.
But way more fun than repeating drills from a textbook.
For sure.
If you want to really level up.
Yeah.
Try writing down a few lines
Okay.
from a scene and practicing them out loud.
I love it.
It helps you internalize the rhythm and flow of natural English. Now let's talk about expanding your vocabulary.
Okay.
And mastering grammar.
Right. Because a lot of people, they jump into these complex novels, get overwhelmed and give up.
Right.
You can build up to those.
Okay.
But start with material that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And manageable.
So we're talking like children's books, blogs on topics you love.
Yeah.
Even comic books.
Exactly.
It's about finding things you actually want to read.
Yeah.
Not forcing yourself through something boring.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you encounter a new word, don't just skip over it.
Right. Write it down.
Okay.
Look up its definition, AD example sentences.
I like that.
Maybe even draw a little picture to help you visualize it.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and then try to use it in your own sentences.
Even if they sound silly at first.
Exactly.
I love that you're encouraging people to be playful with the language.
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right.
And don't just read silently.
Okay.
Read aloud. Even if it's just to yourself.
Yeah.
It'll help with your pronunciation, your fluency, and your overall confidence.
Okay, so you're getting it.
Yes.
Are you ready for some tips?
I'm ready.
That go beyond the traditional textbook approach.
Absolutely. Let's get creative.
Right.
One technique that often gets overlooked is thinking of yourself as a storyteller.
A storyteller. Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
I love a good story.
So we all have stories, right?
Right.
Our experiences, our observations, even our dreams.
Yeah.
So instead of just like reciting grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary lists, try weaving them into narratives.
Okay.
It makes language learning more engaging.
Right.
And it helps you internalize grammar and vocabulary organically.
So instead of just saying like, I went to the store and bought some apples.
Right.
I could say something like, the afternoon sun was blazing as I walked to the market, dodging crowds and overflowing fruit stands. I finally found the perfect apples, their skin glistening like polished rubies.
Exactly. You've transformed that like mundane sentence into a vivid scene.
Right.
You're not just conveying information, you're painting a picture with words.
That's such a great way to make those grammar rules come alive.
Yeah.
Much more memorable than just drilling verb tenses.
Right.
Speaking of memorable, what about music?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I learn languages so much faster through songs.
Music is so powerful.
Yeah.
It taps into our emotions. It enhances memory.
Right.
And it provides a rhythm that helps us remember words and phrases.
Totally.
Choose songs with clear lyrics and catchy melodies.
Okay.
And don't just passively listen.
Yeah.
Sing along.
I love it.
You'll be surprised how quickly you pick up new vocabulary and expressions.
So karaoke night is officially language learning.
I mean,
it counts.
I'm all for that. What about flashcards?
Okay.
I used to use those a lot.
Yeah.
But they can get kind of boring after a while.
They can be effective, but let's make them more engaging.
Okay. How do we do that?
So instead of just writing words,
add pictures or even draw your own illustrations.
Oh, fun.
Creating a visual connection really strengthens that link in your brain.
I see.
Makes it easier to recall the word and its meaning.
It's like creating your own personalized picture dictionary.
Exactly.
I bet that would be really helpful for like those tricky abstract nouns or verbs that don't have a clear visual representation.
Absolutely.
Okay, this next tip is a little bit unexpected.
Okay.
Learn the phonetic alphabet.
Interesting.
I know it from like dictionaries, but I never thought about actually learning it.
So the phonetic alphabet is like a secret code for unlocking pronunciation.
Oh, I like that.
It assigns a unique symbol to each sound in English. Regardless of spelling variations.
Interesting.
It's incredibly useful for understanding how words are pronounced.
Okay.
And for navigating those tricky spelling inconsistencies in English.
So instead of just guessing how a word is pronounced,
right,
based on its spelling, I can look it up in a dictionary see the phonetic transcription and know exactly how it's supposed to sound.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of pronunciation.
That would be a game changer.
Yeah, you can find phonetic charts and audio guides online.
Oh, cool.
It might seem a bit daunting at first.
Yeah.
But once you familiarize yourself with the symbols, it becomes second nature.
It's like having a pronunciation roadmap.
I like it.
Okay, let's tackle another tricky aspect of English.
Right.
Idioms.
Yes.
They're so colorful and expressive.
They are.
But also really confusing because their meaning is not literal.
Exactly. Idioms are like these little puzzles that add flavor to the language.
Okay.
So instead of trying to translate them word for word, focus on understanding their meaning in context.
Okay.
Collect idioms that you come across in books, movies, conversations.
Gotcha.
And create your own examples to practice using them naturally.
So instead of saying, like, I'm very happy, I could say I'm over the moon. Exactly.
It's more expressive.
Yeah.
And it shows that I'm really engaging with the nuances of the language.
You got it.
This has been so insightful.
Oh, good.
Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
I do.
On their journey to English fluency?
Oh, don't be afraid to laugh at yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
Language learning should be enjoyable.
Yes.
Embrace the awkward moments, the mispronunciations, the times you accidentally say something completely nonsensical.
It happens to the best of us.
It's all part of the process.
I love
it. Takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
And reminds us that it's okay to make mistakes. It's about progress, not perfection.
So fluency is a journey, not a destination.
It is.
The more you immerse yourself, the more you experiment,
yes,
the more you embrace the process.
Exactly.
The closer you'll get to your goals.
And it's not a solo journey either.
Right.
Connect with other learners, share your experiences, support each other, celebrate your successes together. I love that the language learning community is so vast and supportive.
It really is.
You'll find inspiration, motivation, a sense of belonging. You're not alone on this path.
You're not. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into mastering English, we want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From thinking in English to embracing the power of storytelling.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
It has. But as we wrap up, the question for you listening is this.
Okay.
Which of these strategies really resonates with you?
Yeah, it's about figuring out how to tailor these tips to your unique learning style and goals.
Like some people thrive on immersion.
Right.
While others need a more structured approach. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. It's like, we've given you this toolbox.
I like that.
And now it's up to you to choose the right tools for the job.
Yeah.
Maybe labeling your entire house is a bit much, but you love the idea of using music and storytelling.
Yeah. To make learning more fun.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment.
Right.
Maybe you'll find that, like, combining techniques works best for you.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So, for example, you could watch a movie scene.
Okay.
Write down some key phrases, and then try weaving them into your own story.
Oh, wow.
About a similar experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's about finding what clicks for you and making it your own.
Exactly.
But I think one thing we can all agree on is that consistency is key.
Absolutely. Even dedicating just 15 minutes a day to practicing one of these techniques can make a huge difference over time.
It's like compound interest, right?
Exactly.
Small, consistent efforts add up to significant gains in the long run.
That's the key.
It's about making English a part of your daily routine.
Yes.
Not just something you cram for when you need it.
Right.
And remember, it's a journey, not a race.
Exactly. Don't get discouraged if you hit a plateau or make mistakes.
It's all part of the process.
It happens.
Celebrate your small wins.
Yes.
Stay curious. And most importantly, keep that playful, adventurous spirit alive.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So to all you language learners out there, keep exploring.
Keep practicing.
Keep practicing and never stop being amazed by the power and beauty of the English language.
It is amazing.
You got this.